Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. Last thing anyone wants is getting into prison. Escaping from prison? Nah, that doesn't happen quite often. But we've seen whenever prison escapes happen, it gets its way into the news, becomes a scandal, and gathers a lot of media attention. History has seen some of the craziest escapes. So today, we're here with the top 10 greatest prison escapes of all time. Stay tuned to see how these escapes happened. Number 10. Japanese Master of Prison Break. Japan has a lot of the mysterious to tell this world, and one of them is the incredible prison break by Yoshie Shiratori. Yoshie Shiratori can be called the Harry Houdini of Japan. His escapes from prison cannot be hindered by any copper walls or even physical injuries, as dislocation of his shoulder. Yoshie Shiratori is best known for escaping from prison 4 times in 3 years, and was tagged as the man that no prison could hold. He was accused of murder and robbery and was sentenced to Aomori prison. 3 years later, he picked the lock of his handcuffs with a short wire he found from a wooden bathing bucket. He was recaptured by police after 3 days, and he was sentenced to life in prison for escaping. He was eventually transferred to Akita prison in 1942, from where he escaped by somehow climbing the impossible smooth walls of his cell to reach the air vent. In 1944, Yoshie escaped by dislocating his shoulders and squeezing himself out of the small space on the metal frame. In 1947, he escaped prison a 4th time by digging a tunnel.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
Number 9. John Herbert Dillinger, the notorious criminal. John Herbert Dillinger was an American bank robber during the Depression era. He was the leader of a gang called the Dirty Dozen. Dillinger had a rough life, and as a result, he became the most notorious criminal of all time. During his crime spree, he robbed 24 banks, including 4 police stations. During his criminal career, he successfully escaped from prison twice. When he was in an Indiana jail, Dillinger was taught to be a successful criminal by many of his friends who were bank robbers. On release, he did many bank robberies but was recaptured in 1934 and was sent to Crown Point Jail. The police boasted about the security of jail on the media and declared the jail to be escape-proof. But Dillinger proved this wrong. He carved a wooden fake pistol, supposedly using the shelving in his cell, and a razor to carve it. He tricked the guard to open the cell, and then he took 17 men hostage before luring the guards back to the cell block and then locked them in his own prison cell. After this, he fled. Number 8. Alfred George Hinds, a prison Houdini. Houdini Hinds was a British criminal who was a juvenile delinquent and a career criminal. He broke out from 3 prisons successfully during the 1950s while serving a 12-year prison sentence. His first escape was from the Nottingham prison, where he managed to get through locked doors and climbed over a 20-foot-high wall to freedom while serving a prison stint for jewelry theft. Another escape was a more dramatic one. While being at court, he did a routine visit to the bathroom. He bundled the 2 guards into the cubicle and locked them in the padlock, but he was caught in the airport. After his 3rd escape from the Chelmsford prison, he was free for 2 years before getting caught again. Number 7. John Gerard, amazing escape. World's most famous prison is the Tower of London, which stands over the River Thames. John Gerard is the only person ever known who has broken out from this notorious Tower of London. He was a Jesuit priest. He continued to preach his Catholic beliefs and was sent to prison for this. This happened when the church was under heavy persecution from the Elizabethan England. He was sent to the Salt Tower. While he was in prison, he was brutally tortured and interrogated several times. He was hung by wrists for hours for getting information out of him and making him to confess, but he never spilled a word. Eventually, he was sentenced to death as a result of his crimes. But he was desperate for freedom. Gerard communicated with his friends out of the prison using notes, which were written by using invisible ink. The ink was made of orange juice, which could only be read when heated. On October 1587, these friends rowed a boat into the tower's moat and threw up the rope to him, and Gerard broke out by climbing down the rope. Gerard's hands were mangled due to the torture, but he managed to achieve the impossible. He fled to England, and there he spent the rest of his life. Number 6. Texas 7. John B. Connolly Unit of Prison is located in southeast Texas. On December 13, 2000, a group of prisoners escaped from this unit. This group was named the Texas 7. An elaborate scheme was developed by the group, which restrained 16 people, including the supervisors, officers, and also 3 uninvolved inmates. Once the people were overpowered, clothing, credit cards, ID, and other stuff was taken from them and then was used to impersonate the civilians at the back gate of the prison. 4 of the people stayed behind. They made phone calls to distract the prison tower guards. The rest of the people raided the guard tower and several weapons were stolen. After this, the prison maintenance truck was stolen and all of the 7 people drove away from the prison. Number 5. Empress Matilda's Escape. In the year 1142, Empress Matilda was besieged in the Oxford Castle by the soldiers, which lasted for 3 months. These soldiers were loyal towards her cousin named Stephen. During this era, there was a battle raging across the country for the crown of England. This battle was named as the Anarchy. Stephen, who was the grandson of William the Conqueror, and on the other hand Matilda's cousin, both were willing to have the crown. They took it in turns to lay siege to one another's strongholds. On one freezing snowy night in December, Matilda broke out of the prison. She wrapped herself in the white cape and then fled on makeshift ice skates across the ice to Wallingford Castle. A truce was decided to end this battle. Matilda agreed on this point that Stephen could keep the throne as long as her son named Henry became his heir. After the death of Stephen, King Henry II took the throne. Number 4. Alcatraz Escape. Alcatraz Island is considered to be the most notorious prison in the world. In the year 1962, 3 prisoners broke out of the prison and went missing. They were Frank Morris, John Englund, and his brother Clarence. A plot which was devised by fellow prisoner Alan West saw these 3 digging the escape route for 3 long years through the walls of a cell. They built the raft to sail to their freedom. To fool the prison guards at night, the paper-made dummies were placed in the beds of these 3. This way the guards did not suspect anything wrong until the next morning. Later on, parts of the raft and life preservers were found in the bay, along with some of the prisoners' belongings. This led to believe that the 3 men had drowned or were the victims of hypothermia. The FBI closed the case in 1979, concluding that there was no evidence that these men were alive. Number 3. Ronnie Biggs, train robber. Ronald Arthur Biggs, who is more famously known as Ronnie Biggs, he is known for his great train robbery which took place in the year 1963. In 2001, he surrendered after living as a fugitive for 36 years. He was initially captured and sent to prison due to the train robbery. He escaped from the Wandsworth prison after spending 19 months in the year 1965. He broke out by scaling the wall using a rope ladder and then dropped over a van waiting outside. He fled away to Brussels using a boat and then to Paris. He acquired a new identity and had plastic surgery. After 36 years on the run, he voluntarily returned to the UK and was arrested. He was released in 2009 and died in 2013. And now let's move on to our subscriber's pick of the day. This image was sent to us by a subscriber. Similarly, if you ever wish to know more about an image you come across, just send it to us. Who knows? We may even feature it on one of our videos. Number 2. The subscriber's pick. Our subscriber picture today shows a prison escape which failed horribly. An identified man in Brazil had a misfortune of failing his escape attempt and he looked silly in his video. He opted for Winnie the Pooh method of exit by squeezing out through the hole in the wall. Unfortunately, that hole was not big enough for him and he ended up becoming a joke for everyone else. Number 1. Stalag Luft III, The Greatest Escape. The Great Escape from prisoner of war camp named Stalag Luft III happened in the year 1944 on the 24th of March. This was mapped out by the squadron leader named Roger Bushell, who was in command of the escape committee in the North Compound. This plan was successful due to the 3 big, deep, and long tunnels, which were constructed by more than 600 prisoners, descended 30 feet below the surface. The escapees were divided into 2 groups, and on March 24th, the escape attempt was made. 76 men successfully crawled out of the tunnel, which ended up just short of the tree line and close to the guard tower. Out of the 76 escapees, 73 were recaptured, and Hitler ordered half of the escapees to be executed as an example. And that concludes our list of the top 10 greatest prison escapes. Which of these shocked and surprised you the most? Comment down below to let us know. Before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe, and click the bell icon to stay up to date with our latest videos. We'll see you next time.